Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we have another special, wonderful guest. They are an LA-based actor, educator, and storyteller. We met way back in 2011 at Williams College. It's my wonderful friend, Joseph Baca.
Hey!
Something that is wonderful about you. I have such a vivid memory of the first time we ever met because Joseph and I met on basically like the first proper day of orientation at Williams College because we were both in the same program exploring the arts. And we had just arrived, so none of us knew each other. And Joseph and our friend Josh were standing on the steps with our orientation group being like, everyone switch name tags, everyone switch name tags.
I forgot we did that.
So you are an artist, you're a storyteller. Can you talk a little bit about how you sort of discovered your artistic side and where that passion for creating originates from?
Yeah, I think it's like kind of always been in me. Um, like I remember in kindergarten, like learning all the like fun like ABC songs or like Little Teapot or The World is a Rainbow, and like going back home and being like, I'm gonna perform for everybody. And like at that time, I was an only child, so like everybody paid attention to me, and I loved the attention. And then I got siblings, and then things happened. But like I still like had that like passion to perform. Like I would always watch Disney Channel and like learn all the dances that I'd see, like Aaron Carter stuff or the one dance from Smart House. I would love to. I love to like dance in front of the TV screen and do that. And like in middle school, my parents were like, finally like, you really love this. We want to like get you into like acting classes and like find you an agent and stuff like. So we like found some places and they were all pretty expensive. And so like after like we realized like we couldn't afford that, like my soul was kind of crushed and I was like, well, guess poor people can't be famous. And so then I was like, but I'm like really good at school. I've always been good at school, really good at math. So I'm just gonna stick to math. And like that was also like puberty. So like I didn't like my body and I didn't like becoming a man. Um, so like I didn't like the attention as much anymore. And I didn't want to like be in front of people. I like to be to myself. And I guess by the time I was a high school senior, I was like, I'm done with trying to be a perfect student. It's too much stress. I want to like have fun, like go back to that passion that I had for performing and acting. So I took my first drama class, and we started out with learning about mime and stuff. And I was like, I love this. And then I was the mime for Halloween. We did a lot of improv and we watched a lot of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
So how did coming to Williams change the way you viewed yourself as an artist or enabled you to make art and be creative in different ways?
hmm I think it was the first like actual real like time and space where I could freely explore and express anything I wanted to. Um, it is weird to say, but I was very fortunate to be very poor so that I could afford to go to Williams. Um, and so like without that financial constraint on me now, like I could do whatever I wanted. Being there, I think like I was still like trying to figure out, am I still going to be on the math path? Hey, that rhymed.
The poetry path.
Or am I going to be on the actor tractor?
No, Joseph, don't do it.
A part of what like influenced me to like follow the more creative route was the, which is a funny thing to actually say after being there for 4 years. The theater department was more inviting.
For me, one of the brilliant things about Williams was getting to leave for a year and go abroad. And you
Yeah.
also spent a year abroad
Yeah.
at the Accademia dell'arte in Italy. I mean, I was lucky enough to see some of the art you made there, which was just unbelievable.
Yeah, it was fun. As like freeing as coming to Williams was, there was another level of freedom being there. I think it was because there was less academic expectation, um, and it wasn't about like saying the smartest thing or writing the best paper. It was just like learning about your body, which I had never like fully been comfortable with. Um, and so just like we're gonna do a yoga warm up, and then we're gonna feel what it's like to be water, and then we're gonna be sand, and then we're gonna be honey, and just being like, oh my god, I didn't know all these sensations could be in my body, and I can move it in this way. And then again, people being like, you are a good mover, and I'm like, I am. I always did want to be a dancer, you know, like growing up watching those TV shows, and then puberty hit, and I was like, oh, I like there was the like the shame of being a male and being wanting to be a dancer, like um, and also secretly knowing I was queer and being like, if I express myself this way, everybody's gonna know, and I can't do that. Um, so being in a space where I could freely be like that and not feel shame or fear was, yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible.
So you didn't move back to LA right away after
Uh,
leaving Williams.
June and July, I was home.
Hmm.
August, I went to Japan and did Suzuki training. That was intense.
Yeah.
Never before had I felt pain like that in my muscles. Um, there was one point I remember squatting for I don't know how long, but after he told us we could come up, I felt all the blood rush to my legs and it felt like lava. And then, yeah, and then right after that, I flew to Massachusetts and I spent 3 months in Ashfield. Um, and that was also very physically intense. But I think after Suzuki, I was like, this is a beach cake.
You are based in LA. You've been based in LA sort of on and off since 2015. What is the art scene like in LA, and how have you sort of created your artistic network? Because it's quite intricate.
Yeah, I would say I'm not like familiar with the typical LA art scene. Um, I like found a niche that I'm very, very, very comfortable in, and it's very small. Um, but when I came back, I knew after having been back at home for like a couple months beforehand that I needed expressive outlets. So before I even arrived, I was like, I need to know what I'm going to be spending my time doing. There was a clown masterclass that was starting the week I arrived
Mm.
um, with I think he's UK based. He's with a clown company called Spy Monkey, Aitor Basuri. And then from that class, it was like a week long intensive. Um, I met a bunch of people in the clown community here in LA. And they were like, you need to check out the Idiot Workshop. And I was like, I went to Williams. I'm not an idiot. They kind of meld improv and clown. And improv is very structured. It's like enter the scene, establish the place, characters, whatever. Always say yes, give gifts to your partner, whatever. And they are like, fuck all the rules, improvise anything and see what happens. And if you are an idiot and you fail, perfect. The audience will love you. And I think that was like why I loved clown in the first place, was like having my whole upbringing being about being perfect and keeping that bar set for myself, finally being able to be like, oh, failure is also perfect.
Yes. Yeah, the bar gets set up and you jump straight through it and knock it down, and it's like ideal.
And from our first like beginning class, we developed our an improv group, which was like the first kind of its kind, I think.
Yeah.
um, every time we performed at like UCB, they were like, we've never seen anything like that. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yes.
It was 2016 because it was election time.
Great.
The week of the election, I was flying out to Europe. I was like, no matter what the outcome of the election is, I'm either gonna go to Europe and celebrate or go to Europe and mourn.
Yeah, recover.
Uh-huh. and I mourned. That was also a very tragic time. Um, the night before I was flying back home, I got a message from you actually.
For me, yeah.
Um, mhm. And it was like a beautiful ending to the night too. Like I was with friends in Arezzo, where ADA is, staying with them, and then we got home, and then I got to my phone, and then I saw your message, and I was like confused by it. You were like, "I'm sorry, like let me know how you're feeling," and I was like, "Feeling about what?" And then I got text messages from Frosh Review people, and they were like all talking about Josh and like talking about memories, and I was like, "This is why would they be doing that?" Like it didn't make sense to me. And then I checked my email, and we got the email from William saying that Josh had passed away. And that's when I was like, oh,
Yeah.
heaviness. Kristen, I was staying at her place, and she is the most compassionate, heartwarming, most like open, like she is the person to be around when you are sad. I remember the first question she asked me was just like, who was he? And it was like, oh yay, like I get to talk about him, that's cool. And the first thing I said was, he was the first person I ever hated. Because like going back to like meeting him, I didn't know why someone like him would exist. Like to be that flamboyant and fearless was like unbelievable. Like I had repressed those parts of me so hard that to see someone embrace them so hard, it I didn't like it. I was like, no, that's not fair because I couldn't do that. That was like the beginning of like my kind of gender journey and being like, wait a second. Oh, I have a lot of internalized homophobia still and internalized transphobia that I need to work on in myself. And then it became like, oh, I'm non-binary. That's been like a recurring theme throughout my life, but I never had the vocabulary to talk about it. Um, yeah.
Recently, you've been making art that I know is deeply inspired by the things you were just talking about and Josh on Instagram and TikTok. And do you want to chat a little bit about that new sort of artistic endeavor?
Throughout my LA journey, I still like kept connection with Josh. Not like every day, but like at least like once a month, like checking in with him checking in with me, because um, he was just like that kind of person that always checked in on people.
Yeah, he was.
And sometimes I'd be like, oh, Josh, I can't right now. um, but there was like a very dark moment where I was depressed and there were suicidal ideations, and so I talked to him about it. And after that, he like sometimes would just like send me just like random happy stuff. And I remember specifically one in May 20, I think it was May 2016. Um, he sent me Tarzan's Son of Man, and all he said was, "Here, be inspired." After he left this dimension, um, like for the first couple months, I was like avoiding anything that kind of reminded me of him.
Mm.
Um, but then after that, I was like, no, I want to be reminded of him all the time. And so I started to listen to Disney music again. Pandora just like had a random Disney playlist and that I would listen to. And then I don't remember what the first one was, but I was just like, oh, that song is actually very gay. And it was like, holy shit, that one's queer as fuck too. Oh my God, they all are. They are all queer as fuck. And like someone who like had been like watching Disney movies my whole life, I'm like, is that why I connected to them so hard? Thought came to mind of like, oh, I need to make this into a show. But um, yeah, that's what I decided. I was like, oh, I need to share this with the world. I need to tell everybody that queer children exist and they know what they're feeling. They it's not a lie, it's truth, because I lived that and I saw myself in Disney. So I officially this year was like, with all this time now, I have to share this knowledge with the world. This was also the year where I was more open with my family. I told my parents I was, well, I didn't tell them really. My dad said, women are dating women, men are dating men, and what's the world coming to? And I was like, as a bisexual person in the room, what's wrong with that? And then they were like, oh, nothing. I love you.
Joseph, that is super brave.
Yeah, and it probably wasn't the best way to do it. But like I got home afterward and I was just like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that. And then I called my dad and I was just like, sorry I said it that way, but you like I was upset and you've been saying things like that all my life and I just wasn't gonna have it anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but like, but I don't want you to think that I'm angry at you. And like, if you want to talk more about things or if you have questions, like ask me because I know this is going to be a learning process for you and I want to help you and like support you, even though I'm the one that probably needs a lot more support. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a super
Okay.
generous thing to say.
But and then like also this year, I told my mom specifically that I was non-binary, and my cousin too. She is lesbian, and we were like best cousins growing up. So I was like, "That's me," and she was like, "Oh my god, I need to do your makeup now." And I was like, "Yes, please, like make me into these princesses."
Yes.
Um, so all of my looks are done by her.
So far, you've been focusing on the Disney princesses. And do you have plans in the future to do other Disney characters and incorporate? Yes.
Oh yes. Was kind of just the beginning. The song I chose was by the a cappella group Voctive, and they put 5 Disney princess songs together in one. And that's kind of the core song for me and this project, because it like really, it literally has each single letter of the first 5. It has L, G, B, T, and Q. And then the ending is kind of uh, all inclusive of plus also. So that's like what I started with. Yeah, and so on TikTok I separated it into 7 like 1 minute versions, and my Instagram has more like photos too, with like different like the captions are either explaining like it's either a Disney lyric, but like me being super queer and then you connecting the lyric to queerness, or it's just like me talking about my life and experience. And yes, I have a list of, I think it's almost 80 songs now, that are all queer.
Are there ways that the pandemic has affected your creative process that you weren't expecting or that you've been like, huh,
Well, for one, I wanted this to be a live performance.
right?
So I don't know when that's going to be possible. But like this is kind of like the tester for me. Just like let me create something and like have at least a starting point.
Yeah.
And next year or the year after, whenever it happens, then I have a bunch of material to pull from and be like, boom, 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 boom. I have a show. I'm ready. Most days, I am either, I won't say sad most days, but I'm unmotivated most days. And time flies very slowly and very quickly. I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
What future goals and aspirations do you have for yourself as an artist and for your art?
Like those 3 core words are still like my like driving force. Like I want to be able to educate people with art, uh, and telling stories, mine and other people that don't get to be heard. After Not Men Apart, the people involved in that play are now a separate theater company called Coin and Ghost. We like the like core people in that ensemble created their own company. Um, and I've been involved with them since their first production. And now I am Director of Community Engagement / Envoy of Joy. We had a show that was opening the week everything closed.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah, but after that, he was like, "We're not gonna lose the momentum. Like, we're still gonna like meet, and this is a great time to actually talk about infrastructure and like building the kind of company that we want to build." Um, and so talking about that, like asking us like what our artistic goals are and seeing if they line up with Coin and Ghost. And I was like, I want to have a space one day where I could have classes and
Yes.
teach and have people express themselves, share their stories. And he was like, perfect, that's one of our goals. We want our own space someday. Um, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be connected with Coin and Ghost for a long time. And I think there's still like a part of me that is very interested in drama therapy.
Is there a Disney character that you most strongly identify with / love?
Quasimodo.
Really?
Yes.
Ah, see, I thought you were gonna be like, I can't think of one, but you just had it ready. Is there something that you would like to say to like a younger version of Joseph, or like any kids or youth out there who are sort of struggling with the same identity questions that you're struggling with?
I guess it's just like be true to your heart.
Stop, that's a Disney song.
Yeah, it is. If you feel a certain way, it's probably true. Um, and like ask, like, don't be afraid to ask yourself those questions and do that research and like look for the people that connect to you and to like your story and to like who you want to be. I didn't even show the magic of this bow tie. Bah!
I genuinely can't believe I tried to end the interview without the bow tie. Look at it. Thank you for sharing your story and your wisdom and your art. I have said this previously. I'm going to link to all of Joseph's art down in the channel below, but most specifically his Instagram and his TikTok, where you can follow him and actually see the art that he's been talking about. So his Queer Disney, his Queer Theory, his photos and videos, which are just wonderful and informative and creative and warm. And in addition to following Joseph on all of his social media and supporting their art, you should stay tuned on this channel because Joseph and I are going to be collaborating on some Queer Disney art this Sunday.
I'm so excited.
We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Hearing a Disney character and then being like, oh, they're speaking for this person in the LGBTQIA2SP plus community. This is what all the straight people were giving us shit for at the beginning.
There's something like supremely queer about it, though, just being like, we'll never stop. We'll keep adding letters. We'll add the same letter multiple times. We'll add the same letter back to back. We'll add a number. We'll add a symbol. You think we won't?